Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. I wrote about a dozen Christmas or holiday-related short stories, and I thought I would collect them here for you and make this a podcast. I was too lazy to change into red or green, so forgive me for wearing my Bay Area basic black, but hopefully the stories are polished enough that you'll enjoy them. Anyway, this first one is called Trump's Christmas. Hi, Donald Trump here at Mar-a-Lago, about to start our Christmas hoo-ha bash. No, I haven't invited the media. I could just see the headline. Trump's Christmas, less caroling, more Kardashian. I could picture a goon from Biden's FDA crashing the party and citing me for false advertising and calling my jumbo shrimp shrimp. They're too big to be shrimp. That's a violation of FDA Code Section 167.75.24EE, the crustacean clause. There's got to be a Santa Claus pun in there somewhere, but I can't think of one. Maybe you can. I'll show I'm not anti-immigrant. I'll do a photo op with my Latinx employees. See, I know the current lingo. Latinx. All of them holding their green cards. And if they're illegal, I'll just have a green card printed up. I'll have Elon post the pic on X with a caption. See? Legal. It'll get millions of views. Screw the legacy media. And I'll take plenty of pictures with Vivek, however he pronounces his last name. That caption will be, see? Another example of how Trump isn't a racist. Then I'll take pics with Jared Kushner with the caption, see? Trump isn't anti-Semitic. And now, dear viewer, here is an ending to please Trump's supporters. They tried to assassinate me again, but I dodged all the bullets, raised my fist in defiance, and knowing that, as with the great pic of the previous assassination attempt, the media won't post this one, I'll just have Elon post it on X. And now here's an ending to please Trump haters. A sniper just shot me in the groin. I won't be able to take office. Anyway, that's Trump's Christmas. The next short story is called Suspicious of Santa. I was 7, and it was show and tell. On my phone, I showed the Ring video of my father walking in with gift-wrapped boxes, the same boxes that on Christmas morning said, from Santa. My classmates, of course, were sad. After all, many of them still believed in Santa. To try to compensate for my grinchy disclosure, the teacher read this. Dear editor, some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says, if you see it in the Sun newspaper, it's true. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus? Signed, Virginia, 8 years old. Well, a reader responded in the New York Sun. Dear Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They believe only in what they can see. Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. Nobody sees Santa, but that's no sign he doesn't exist. Some of the most real things can't be seen. No Santa Claus? 1,000 years from now, maybe 10 times 10,000 years from now, Santa will continue to make glad the hearts of children, by Francis P. Church. That was my life's most embarrassing moment. I said to the class, I'm sorry, and I actually cried. And now I reassure children that yes, there is a Santa Claus. So anyway, that's called Suspicious of Santa. The next one is called The Big Bad Wolf Asks Forgiveness. Hi, I'm the Big Bad Wolf. You know, the one who blew down the 3 little pigs' houses of straw and of sticks. Well, I was scheming what to do next, and figured that Christmas is a good time to catch folks unaware. So I decided to invite Humpty Dumpty and Gretel to the pig's 3rd house. The one made of brick so I couldn't blow it down. I got that house by luring the pigs outside with food. After all, they're pigs. I got Humpty and Gretel to come to Christmas dinner by fake crying that I was seeking redemption. Perfect for Christmas, and naive goody-goodies that they are, they bought it. I knew I had to be my most disarming, so I used communication tips that they teach in singles webinars. I focused on them, not me, and it made them feel good about themselves. Well, Humpty, good to see you all put back together again. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't do it. Who did? Urgent care. They fixed me, but the bill made my innards, well, scrambled. You know, scrambled eggs, Humpty Dumpty. Gretel, great to see you too. Congrats on blowing away the witch. No biggie, I was one of the early badasses. Oh, Humpty, will you help me in the kitchen? No prob. Well, it turned out to be quite the prob for him. He was my hors d'oeuvre. When I came back, Gretel asked, "Where's Humpty?" He wants to be less vulnerable, so he is hard-boiling himself." Reassured, Gretel relaxed, and that was my cue to jumper. Alas, Santa sees all, so in a flash he and his reindeer zipped down the chimney, and the reindeer pinned me to the floor with their antlers. Again, using that Christmas redemption pitch through fake tears. "I feel so guilty about having been such a bad wolfie. I want to do better, I swear." Santa asked, "You swear on a stack of Bibles?" I said, "I swear." And with that, they vanished. Now, what's next? Anyway, that's the big bad wolf asks forgiveness. The next one is called My Hijab. My husband and I had just finished Maghrib, the fourth of our 5 daily prayers, and then we were, well, intimate. I figured that was a good time to ask whether, now that we're in America, I might wear a headscarf instead of the formal hijab. My husband's face tightened a bit and he said, "We're not that liberal yet. But good news, my friend manages the gift wrapping department at Macy's. He's willing to hire you for the holidays. It'll give us a little extra money for Ramadan gifts." I was nervous. While I gift wrapped adequately for presents that I give, to do it professionally? But I said yes. On my first day, I was reminded that most department store gift wrappers are old. I'm 26, and I wear a hijab. I could tell they were trying. They smiled, albeit maybe with a forced smile. I was relieved that it wasn't hard to add flourishes that make gift wrapping look professional. For example, to get the curling ribbon to look good, you put the scissor on the ribbon's dull side and do its full length in one shot. It was fun for a while, but the luster soon wore off. One woman noticed my smiling less and came over during the break and asked, "How are you?" And it felt more than the obligatory, "Hi, how are you? Fine. How are you? Fine." I explained that I was getting a little bored and was sad that my hijab seemed to distance people. That disclosure gave her the courage to ask, "Had you considered wearing a regular scarf?" I explained that my husband doesn't want me to, and she backed off. Just before the store was closing on Christmas Eve, we exchanged gifts, well wrapped, of course. When my turn came, there was a gorgeous silk scarf. I got teary, okay, and a little angry at the woman, and spurted, "But I told you my husband won't let me." At that moment, my husband popped out behind a wall and smiled. "Merry Christmas." Okay, anyway, that's called My Hijab. Next one is called the Grinch and Scrooge Talk. Grinch says, "Been warming up your bah humbugs?" Scrooge says, "Planning to put lumps of coal in kids' stockings?" Grinch says, "We should get more creative. How about spamming the world with atheist slogans like, 'Christmas is fake news'?" Scrooge says, "Hey, we could stencil them on sidewalks like when they did 'No justice, no peace.'" Grinch says, "Don't you get tired of being mean?" Scrooge says, "Sorta. What if we took a break?" "What would we do?" "Be like normal people. Give presents, especially donations to charity in people's names. Sing carols, be nice, even though most people go back to normal on December 26th. Just for this Christmas? Just for this Christmas. You know, I'm scared." "Why?" "I've worked hard to build my brands. Son of a bitch." "Well, maybe we can rebrand. After all, you redeem yourself in A Christmas Carol." "I think I'm hardwired to be a son of a bitch." Grinch says, "Me too. Let's tell kids that Santa's fake." Scrooge says, "Good idea." Anyway, that's the Grinch and Scrooge Talk. Next one is The First Christmas with Mom in a Decade. By mutual agreement, my mother and I had not talked, let alone seen each other, in a decade, but we decided to take the risk. We'd have Christmas dinner together. I was nervous. I knew I had aged. I knew we had different political opinions. I knew that therapy actually made me angrier at my mother. I got my first shock as soon as I opened the door. She had aged, really aged. I had planned to start by saying, "Especially considering you lost Dad, you look great." But I knew that wouldn't be credible. We all fool ourselves when we look in the mirror, but I couldn't imagine she'd be that blind. If she compared a current photo of herself with one a decade ago, she'd cringe. I laughed to myself as her opening line was that very lie. Jane, you haven't changed. To try to avoid the cloud hanging over us, I asked, Mom, when I was a child, I perceived you as having bounced between neglectful and critical. Am I misunderstanding something? You are. I was neither. You were so demanding, constant praise, constant attention. Never mind. Can I get a glass of wine? Passive-aggressive as always, she poured me a tiny amount. I stared at her, whereupon she sniffed and poured just a little more. My face got red, but if I didn't want the whole evening to blow up, I figured I'd better change the topic. Certainly not to politics, which risked Armageddon, but to something she couldn't diss me about. So I asked the super safe question I asked people at the office holiday party. Mom, are you looking forward to anything at the holidays? I'm not much on the holidays. Even the winter solstice, New Year's Eve? Stop being sarcastic. Well, I couldn't take it anymore. Mom, have a happy or a fucking miserable year-end for all I care, and I stormed out. I guess there's a reason that many family members choose to stay estranged. In any case, that was the first Christmas with Mom in a decade. And last, the Hanukkah miracle. Hanukkah's this minor holiday. It seems silly that there is an attempted parody. It's patronizing and ridiculous. But I wrote one called The Hanukkah Miracle, the sequel. When I was 10, I asked my parents, can I have a Christmas tree? No, we celebrate Hanukkah. Why? Well, a long time ago, in the biggest Jewish temple, a ritual required a lamp to be lighted for 8 days. But there was only enough oil for 1 day, yet it lasted all 8. A miracle. Maybe it's just another Bible fairy tale. I don't really know. I decided I'd give my parents miracles of my own. You see, my parents had an electric menorah. On Hanukkah's first night, they light one of its 8 orange bulbs, and the second 2 lights, and so on through the holiday's 8 nights. Well, after my parents lit the first one and weren't looking, I unscrewed the bulb. My parents asked me if I did it, and I swore, I didn't. But to be safe, my father put the menorah on top of the refrigerator where I couldn't reach it. And as a wimpy 10-year-old, I was too weak to get the ladder from the garage and drag it into the kitchen. So I asked my friend's mother if she would help me with my prank. Each afternoon of Hanukkah, when I came home from school and my parents were still at work, she came over and unscrewed all but one bulb. My parents were mystified, especially on the last night. Instead of leaving one bulb lit, she replaced it with a wax candle of Jesus on the cross. As usual, my parents queried me, and I said, a miracle? For the piece de resistance, I asked my parents to come to the backyard. They said, but it's freezing. We don't go out there till March. I said, bundle up. There, our overgrown, asymmetrical tree had been transformed. The woman had trimmed it back so it looked like a Christmas tree, and we decorated with red and green ornaments for Christmas and blue and white ones for Hanukkah. I welcomed my parents to the backyard with, Happy Christmaka. They couldn't help but laugh. Anyway, that's the Hanukkah Miracle, the sequel, and there's, I think, about a half dozen of my little 2-minute stories with the holiday theme. As usual, I welcome your thumbs up and accept your thumbs down. I always look forward to your comments, and especially like it if you hit the share button below. Share on your social media so that my efforts can have broader impact. And I am flattered if you choose to subscribe to my channel. And certainly would welcome you taking a look at any of my 34 books. They're all on Amazon. But in any event, I do wish you a happy holiday, or year-end, or winter solstice, or Kwanzaa, or even Merry Christmas. I'm Marty Nemko. Oh, I like to end these podcasts with this, my favorite phrase, which is from Frank A. Clark. More important today than ever, I believe, we find comfort among those who agree with us, growth among those who don't.